Well, hello and welcome to another Almost Daily. Hello, I'm Stephen Allen. Most of that should have been fairly obvious from the title and the sung theme tune. Tuesday, we're back. Didn't do one on Friday. It's stuff going on. Actually, details on why there's not one on this Friday coming soon as well. I will be going on about that quite a lot because it makes me look good. So I'll probably mention it quite a bit. In the comments, we start off with, loads in the comments already. If you'd like to join in, get to youtube.com/@Mr. Stephen Allen. So look, Emsicle says, I'm here early. Does this mean Joodles will have to sit this one out? That's the law, isn't it? One in, one out. There is a one in, one out. Is it a law? Is it a scheme? It's not mathematically rigorous. Proper Memes, who's given us some more production elements, as we used to call them, says, Steve's still sleeping under the desk, I see. I mean, look, this, yes, it's not thoroughly unheard of for me to sleep in this shed. But I will say, there's an inflatable mattress if I have to do a full night one. I've never done a full night sleeping in the shed, even though it is soundproofed, which when you've got young kids would be an absolute dream. Also, the reclinables. Look, not fancy. I don't just get any rubbish chairs in this shed. Oh. There you go. Never judge a pod by its caster, says Martin. What? So there you can get your comments coming through. We start off then with a quick look at the front pages, for which we now have production. I can't remember which button I've loaded it onto. This is more AI genius from Proper Memes. Take it away, jingle.
Headlines.
Is this a bit more serious than this show? That's like proper. Is this Sky News now? Am I actually on Sky News? Yeah. Right, let's start off with new look headlines. Don't they look better? The front pages can be zoomed in a lot better. Oh, it's nice, yeah. The Mirror goes with £10 million slap in the face. Anger after it's revealed firm link to husband. This is Michelle Moan's husband. Bought a luxury flat in Florida. But let's not forget, they are bankrupt, so they don't have to pay any of that money they owe the government and therefore us. That is... Well, it's not the first time I've been diddled out of money by a woman in lingerie. It's not the best time either. So, there you go. Take on that one. Front page of the Express goes with grooming gang probe rigged from the start. Oh, I've gone on about this. This whole thing. If ever there was something that needed to be done well, and of course they're managing to do it about as good as the government did when they install an IT scheme. Honestly, it makes me look competent. Also, Kidman's Catwalk tribute. By the way, we can now zoom in on front pages. I've set it up so that we can. Kidman's Catwalk tribute to film icon. I've not read the story. I don't know which film icon that's meant to be. Did they make a Skeletor film? Do you not think there's quite a lot of cheekbone? Look, I'm not here to judge. Let's move on. The front page of the Times goes with small boat migrants to be housed in barracks. This seems to be a step forward in trying to solve what I think all parties across the political spectrum are calling, the migrant crisis, the small boat crisis. I've joked before about the fact that we fixed the small boat crisis because now they're sending over massive boats. A mega dinghy was one of them. But now it looks like what they're doing is using the barracks that used to house the soldiers that we used to have. So isn't it good that we have ever deplenished armed forces? Yay! Is that the win we're meant to be taking from that? Front page of The Sun goes with Cost More Cottage. After Harry and Meghan spent £2.4 million on Frogmore, now workmen have gone in to prepare it for shamed Andy. So let's just recap on the punishments Andrew's had. He hasn't been stripped of his titles, but he's promised not to use them on headed notepaper. Gets another free house. Honestly, it's a hard life, isn't it? Hard life, absolute half-life. And front page of the Daily Telegraph, NHS to offer same-day prostate cancer tests. Look, good, brilliant. It's great that they do this. Also, it's great that you can have it's a blood test these days, isn't it? The prostate test in the old days used to be ding dong, where I think I'll get away with that. I was thinking, what's the correct phrase on YouTube to not be demonetized? Not that I'm monetized, but yep. And but now it's a blood test, which ruins the fun, doesn't it? I did a gig in Harefield over the weekend, which is near Uxbridge, and there was a doctor in, and she didn't want to sit in the main audience because she worried about being picked on. A relatively small gig, and then I get on stage, do some prostate material, and afterwards she came up and said it's a shame that we didn't speak to her because she's actually a doctor who's at the moment practicing with the old, and I did offer myself as if you needed to practice on someone who's had it done. But she declined my nice offer. Weird, isn't it? Test while you wait, says Chris Hood. Exactly. I'm not going to leave it behind like it's a watch. And Proper Meme says, Andy puts in the soundproofing and a dungeon. Well, I've got soundproofing. Let's not judge people who like a little bit of soundproofing. What happens in the shed stays in the shed, unless you live stream it down to camera. Never mind the barracks. Shut down the asylum hotels. Never mind the barracks. Was that what the headline was? No, but it should have been. Where's it gone? It should have been. Oh, they've missed a trick there, didn't they? And let's have a look. Is that a nod to Divine Kim? I don't know. I really don't know what her nod is about. Where's she gone? Okay, we've lost her. There she is. Also, someone who was it? I did notice you deplenished. Yeah, Martin, you're right. I think I've invented a word, but deplenished. It seems like it should be a word, and if it's not, I move that we now have it as a word. Thank you very much. If the young people can invent, the Riz and the short words that they have, I can have deplenished. And if I am wrong about that, feel free to deplenish me. The front page of, The Guardian. Ministers warn not to scapegoat prison staff over sex offender case. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure we definitely will blame those higher up. Come on. Even though it was just apparently someone filled in a form and so a sex offender was released. And then I was listening to loads of coverage of this over the weekend and they were saying, but thousands of people get erroneously released every year. Oh, that's all right then. What? So our system is failing. It releases people who shouldn't be released. But imagine if we didn't have that failing system, how full our prisons would be. So another good one. Thank heavens that we don't have an army left anymore, and thank heavens we're releasing criminals when we shouldn't. Otherwise, imagine the state of this nation. Check with Susie Dent. Is deplenished a word? Because I was thinking of the MasterChef woman. Yeah, I should check with Susie Dent. You heard it here first. It's a neologism. I can't say that. Deplenished. Deplenished, new rule. Deplenished is now a word. You're right. So there you go. You're up to date with the front pages and get rid of that. By the way, the new version where I can, if we want to ever zoom in on any stories. Look at this. Look at this. I'm updated. I don't just sit around doing nothing when I'm not live streaming. Look at that. Humanity failed its 1.5 Celsius rise, says the UN chief. Let's not talk about that. We'll get in trouble. So that's all of the stories on the front pages. Let's get inside and see what happens.
Let's get inside the news.
Hello. We're back. So I've got loads to get through today. Also, I've slightly changed the way the camera works. Hopefully you won't even notice, though, because now it should correct itself. This one is a bigger problem. I've tried to update it. It's not worked. So the side camera has been cleaned, but more on that later anyway. Let's go through some of the stories that we've got in the newspapers. We start off, let's do some of the big news. How about this one? Hopefully this all fits in. China spy case. Red flags were raised. China spy case. Red flags were raised. And I think it's offensive that they were raising their flags. Because, I know what the Chinese flag looks like. And at a time when we can't even fly like a St. George's one without being accused of various things by some former footballers, China were raising their flags? Spy on us all you like, but don't start with that. I've not read the full story. There is a chance I've misunderstood it, but that seems solid. If you actually want to get into the story. The collapsed China spy case blame game intensified yesterday as some of Britain's most senior officials were hauled before Parliament. Oh, they can investigate those, but not the criminals. Nice. Front page of... No, not front page. Story for... Oh, in news. Beth Rigsby's in the news. Sky News legend Beth Rigsby has revealed... Not Rigby. Rigsby is like, Miss Jones is the news. Who says I don't know impressions? Sky News legend Beth Rigby has revealed that she ditched her high heels for plimsolls so she can chase down cabinet members. We could move to one side the fact that she should have trainers, not plimsolls. What are you, 12? But, fair enough. If you need to do some running, good. This whole story, fine. You have to run after ministers, wear footwear that is suitable for running. No one's watching you for your stilettos, Beth, and if they are, they're not the kind of viewers you want. They pay well if you're on that website we talk about, but no one's watching Beth Rigby for stilettos. Yeah, Miss Jones. Even that mental image has put me right off. AI, says Chris Hood, I'll get some comments. Deplenished is the past participle of the rare verb deplenish, meaning to be deprived of content, such as furniture, stock, or other... Thanks for defining what content is. It's a similar meaning to deplete. So I was right. So I didn't look like an idiot. Knew it all along. Thank you. Move over here. No, because for a while there, it looked like I also thought I was an idiot. But no, yeah, I got that one. Got that one absolutely spot on. Let's get rid of that. Millions of Brits avoid leaving a tip if they have a credit card or a debit card. And this is because, look at the headline, punters prefer to give cash. I don't think that's what this story is. They're right. Loads of people don't give tips if they are using a card. It's not because we prefer to give cash, is it? It's because we think it's an excuse to not give a tip. No, just being brutally honest about this. Look, if you were trying to look at market forces, if you're doing a bit of supply and demand, all that rubbish, right? Do you think if there's a way of spending less money on something and not having to talk to someone, we wouldn't do it? Do you know what I mean? Oh, no, I don't. I would give a tip, but I'm just not sure that the tips actually go to the staff. I think they might go to the business, so I don't actually... Yeah, absolute pile of bull, mate. Not believing that for a second. Back into the comments for a while. Oh, yes, Martin says, R.I.P. Prunella Scales. I saw that news breaking just before we started. Not going to do jokes about that because, but yeah, off our caps in the general direction. Proper Meme says, I just give the tip. Are those the jokes we're doing? Are you talking about that story? Are you back with the Beth Rigsby one? Yeah, Miss Jones. And we're up to date on the comments. This is a short, small story. We have to use the zoom in camera on this one. Here it is. Seeing an original artwork reduces stress by 3 times as much as looking at a copy, a study in London has shown. No, because it depends which art we're talking about, doesn't it? Because if you wanted to chill out and look at the Mona Lisa, you could Google a picture and you get a copy. And then you look at it and you'd be like, ah. Or you could get on a flipping train, trying to get yourself down to Dover. Then you've got to make all your way into Paris, queue up, go into there, probably get through the new security things they'll have now that they've let the crown jewels go. Then you get to walk round to the room that has the Mona Lisa in it. And I'm not trying to be too offensive here, but it's filled with tourists who might be from the kind of nation that easily have access to high-grade technology, which means they've all got the flipping camera phones out, haven't they? Yep. So you stood there. I mean, thankfully, they're also a nation who are easy to look over, but that's not the point. You stood there trying to see the Mona Lisa with a sea of tourists, and all you can see is their phones. Eventually, you get up the front. The damn thing's tiny. You think this news story's tiny. The Mona Lisa is tiny. And you look at it and you're like, is this less stressful than Googling it? I don't think it is. I'd also wager this. If you're the kind of person whose stress can be assuaged by looking at original artwork, you ain't got real stress. Do you know what I mean? You're this kind of person. Oh, I'm not even sure if we can have a second skiing holiday this year. Oh, and also the cleaners being an absolute nightmare. You don't know stress. You're flipping. The proper meme says it's smaller in real life. Are we talking about the Mona Lisa? Or the Beth Rigsby one? Or just the tip? I'm very confused about which story we're doing over here. Oh, that's a rubbish story. Gen Z are drinking martinis. No one cares. I like this one. Chris Hood says heightist. Well, no, not really. Not really. It's their fault for not being tall enough to see in it. A witch. There's a witch. A witch. If a witch would watch which watch would watch which witch. A witch has moaned that Halloween is a bad time for sorceresses. Lilith Wildwood, no way that's a real name, said that the spooky season mocks modern-day witches. Ah, well, I'm glad that we have another group of people who are going to be offended by things. My camera's going weird again, isn't it? And also, in case this helps you cheer up about it, Lilith, if that is your real name, which is not, you're not a witch, because it's not a thing. It's not a thing, really. It's a pretend thing, isn't it? Of course, you can be one if you want. It's one step above my son being a fireman. He's not a fireman. You can be a fireman. Actually, so it's a bad example. You can be a real fireman. But you can also pretend to be whatever you want. And I think that is what you are pretending to be when you're pretending to be a witch. You can't be offended. This is not cultural appropriation, because what you are is pretending to be a witch. I'm sure you're into crystals. I'm sure there's something burning, incense burning on a shelf, and you've probably got a wall chart that goes on about energy and amethyst and all that rubbish. Maybe you feel like your chakras have been deplenished. I don't know. But what I am saying is this. You're not a real thing. And we will find out now, won't we? Because after that being that offensive about witches, if on tomorrow's or Thursday's show it's being presented by an actual frog, then we'll find out. She's a witch like I'm a witch, says Martin. All right. Don't calm down, you witch. Justin is here and has redacted a comment. Good. Feel like I'm there. Made up name. Yes. Definitely a made up. Wildwood. Come off it. That's like giving yourself a nickname at school, isn't it? Oh, yeah, I've got a nickname. They call me Ace. I don't flipping call you Ace. Bloomin' Merkins coming over here with their fake holiday. Oh, Chris Hood's anti-Halloween. I used to be like that. I used to think we don't need to focus so much on Halloween. We should be enjoying our own one where we celebrate the almost blowing up of Parliament. That's not as popular as it used to be, is it, Guy Fawkes Night? Because times change, because of the Americanization of our culture, or because people aren't against the idea of blowing up the... I've said too much. Just saying, that might be a thing, isn't it? That's what she said, says Martin. Probably about the tip thing. I bet she's incensed, says Martin. Nice. Justin, here we go. AI-generated art-like images will make more people value owning original handmade paintings, I reckon. I know what you mean. Do you reckon the survey's talking about that? That if you look at an original, but we're talking like the kind of original you'd buy for 25 quid that's on display in an independent coffee shop. Look at me going on. I go to the kind of coffee shops where people have stress about skiing holidays. Do you reckon that's what we're talking about? Original artwork, but not original fancy ones. Not the kind of, some fancy Matisse or whatever. Which holiday is my favourite magazine to pick up a holiday destination, says Proper Memes. And bring back Pancake Day. I think they still have it. Do we not do that anymore? I know carbs are frowned upon, but I think you still get Pancake Day when we celebrate the life of St. Pancras. Is that what it is? And news just in, says Martin. Justin's here. Yeah, look at this. Keep the chat going. Right. Back into the news, because there's way too much news to cover today. All right, we'll do this one. 8K telly, clearly useless. Forking out on a super duper. Really? They use that phrase in newspapers? HD TV may be a waste of money because we can't tell the difference. Yep. I joked about this. In fact, if you go back in whatever my newspaper columns, spotted this years ago. TVs are getting so good that the limiting factor is going to be the human eye. I spotted this age, but now the human eye has a resolution limit, so 4K and 8K will appear the same, according to a Cambridge University study. Okay, a Cambridge University study is slightly better than a local newspaper column by me. A bit. Yeah. If you have more pixels in your display, it's less efficient, it costs more, and it requires more processing power to drive it. That's why I promise to not use my 4K camera on 4K. I stream in 1080p. Also because of the state of my face. Can we not start Donut Day? Well, that would be American, says Martin. That would be the problem. Gluten intolerant pancakes. Yeah, that is a problem. The donut would seem very American, wouldn't it? Having the donut. If you spell it that way as well. You've got to spell it badly with wasteful letters to do it the proper British way. But also, and here's a fact, I don't know if you know this, donuts are not technically nuts. All right, keep the comments coming. We have millions of us dream of being self-sufficient like in the good life. Because things are expensive. Yeah. Given a choice of having to go to Tesco and paying 12 quid for instant coffee. 12 quid for instant. That was a wake up. But given a choice between that or just getting stuff from my garden, yeah, sure. I'd love to have stuff for free. But if I were going to copy anything from the 1970s sitcom The Good Life, I would opt for having sexual tension with a neighbour called Margot. I don't have any neighbours called Margot right now. But you never know. Have I been taking too many supplements? I very much feel Margot. Donut, says Martin, but spells it with 2 T's. That's the kind of wastefulness that we need. And donut, says Proper Memes. We're effectively heading towards Dreadnought on there, aren't we? Bill Gates, 640k ought to be enough for anybody. Good point. But that more memory in computers gives you more space to be wasteful, which is all it's really done for us. Whereas higher resolution in front of you, if you can't see it, you can't see it. That'll be dreaming of a young Felicity Kendall. Checkbook, Jerry. Back into the comments over here. Oh, the Just Stop Oil activists who tried to spray orange paint on pop star Taylor Swift's private jet have been spared jail. At the time, I think we did talk about it, that this was in Stansted. So they went to Stansted, so they suffered enough. Anyone who has to go to Stansted, I really feel for. Even Taylor Swift. Come on, you deserve better than that, don't you? Know your value, love. But also, apparently, when they, I didn't realise this from the story, when they were stopped attacking her plane, they just tried to spray some other planes. That's harsh. No, because if Taylor Swift gets slightly delayed on her world tour, you've made a point. If you're annoying the kind of people who have to go to Stansted, have they not suffered enough? That's a bit dull. What are the good ones? Yeah. All right, we'll mention this one. I feel like I might get in trouble for this. Terrorist jibe boss sack win. Am I reading out the headlines wrong? This feels like there's no way to make that a sentence. A lifeboat commander who was sacked for calling London Mayor Sadiq Khan a terrorist has won his unfair dismissal case. That's not a good look, is it? Do you know what I mean? If someone got in trouble for calling you something and then it's been taken to an adjudication at a certain level of legality and they were like, nope, yeah, we can get away with that. But I don't actually like the excuse. He said he said other stuff that we could look at, but he said that he felt terrorized by Mr. Khan's car policies. Now we're playing victim Olympics, aren't we? Oh, you felt terrorized, did you? But look, don't get me wrong. ULEZ, which is not an insult from the 90s, it's the traffic zone, but also the lower traffic neighborhoods. I've been caught out by all of those. My cars, right, Jerry, are both ULEZ compliant. So I suppose I'm not really worried about that one. But the lower traffic neighborhoods, I got caught in one of those ones. I was staying over at someone's place in Hackney. I parked perfectly fine. The next morning I tried to leave to go to work. I couldn't get out of there because overnight they'd swooped in and closed off all the flipping roads. But I did cry, but I didn't cry about it in that way. I didn't pretend that, I feel like I have been terrorized by a planter with a small tree in it. Get over yourselves. Sinful Charlotte, feeling better already. What have I missed? Thank you. What have I done? What were you feeling bad about? These are the comments, by the way. Does that mean EasyJet are green? The orange. I think if you were trying to spray orange paint on an EasyJet plane, no one would notice. That's the perfect cover, isn't it? Nice. And I think we're up to date in the comments. Keep them coming through. This story. Charles is heckled over Andy. The king was heckled about his brother, Prince Andrew, and the relationship with Jeffrey Epstein during a cathedral visit. And I don't know if that actually is the correct take on it. He was shouted at. Maybe I'm just being precious because as a stand-up comedian, the word heckled means a very specific thing. Like he was trying to do his work, someone shouts out something, and then you just do like a put down. And Charles didn't do a put down, so I don't really think this is a heckled situation. I would like to see that. I would like to see Charles get into the stand-up comedy art of the heckle put down. So he could have been there. And what did the guy said? The guy said, when did you know about Andrew and Epstein? And Prince Charles could have been like, I remember my first Chardonnay. Or, this is what happens when cousins marry. Not you, me. That actually, it wouldn't be a good heckle put down. I'm giving him bad advice. Sig ban will kill us, but they're specifically not talking about us, unless you are one of these people. Thousands of corner shops will be lost under plans to ban younger generations from ever smoking, a poll suggests. What are we meant to do with that? So we've brought in a policy to try and stop people dying from smoking and getting the cancers and all the things. But it might mean that your business doesn't... so we should just let people keep dying so you can keep your business? By that logic, the war on drugs is really stopping some people having a thriving drug dealing business. How dare we? What do you expect? This is just going to happen. This is what's happened with Pizza Hut. They're closing down loads of shops because people are getting less fat. We're not eating, maybe it's the jabs, maybe it's the carb phobia. People aren't having big cheesy bread things. And if you're in the business of selling big cheesy bread things, you're suffering. But this is even worse, isn't it? If your business is being kept afloat by selling cigarettes to young people, and you're going, but what about us? I don't have a lot of sympathy. Chris Hood says Prince Philip impressions now. As he is now, maybe. That's me, Charles. That's Prince Charles getting out of a chair. Whereas Prince Philip, I would do the impression. It's the same voice, but it's just something far more racially offensive. Martin, what about the rest of the stuff they sell in the corner shops? What if they sell more of that? They wouldn't shut down, would they? I'm not sure about this story. No, wrong one. It's Halloweenies. Nudist partygoers are set to bear all at a £45 a head Halloween rave. Quick question. When you say a head, it's not fair. No, because some nightclubs like charge women less. And this same policy would do that. I ain't paying 90 quid to get into this thing. The dress code is mask only. How COVID compliant. The spooky woodland as well. Oh, you never want to be seen of again, would you? You're in the wood. I'm going to a nudist bash in the woods. Here's my will. Will take place on October 25th. Hey? This is not an old newspaper, is it? What happened then? Tell me what happened in Oakwood, North London, to strip away the everyday. Well, I can tell you, October the 25th, a couple of days ago, was cold, thanks to Storm Benjamin. So, either you're wrapped up or, purple, Chris says. I'm not really sure what he's relating to, but it seems like it. No Halloween soundtrack, Steve. I don't have it loaded on this. Sounds like a gig for Steve. And says proper memes. I have performed in front of the nudists. And Martin says, ahead. Exactly. Ahead? It's like when it says members only. We can try and cover this one. It's a big story. It's too big for my level of camera work. Do you know what? There you go. Strictly Star bottom 2 shock. Dance training is no help. So, look, if we try and zoom on it. Pals fear a backlash against Amber Davis, never heard of probably her, professional dance background. We'll see her get the boot on Strictly. Dance training is no help. Are you sure? If you've been trained in dancing and you're taking part in a dancing show, it's got to help, hasn't it? Don't come in. Oh, no, my training on doing really well at it. Don't talk daft. If you were a lawyer, you'd do better at traitors. Do you know what I mean? If there were a TV show, and there probably has been on Channel 4, where you kind of have to go on an island and date but not have sex, if Anne Widdecombe went on that, she'd have an unfair advantage. So don't come here telling me that your background, what you mean is your unfair advantage is not popular and it's a popularity contest. Martin says it's probably not much help to Amber because she's already a dancer. I don't know which one's which. So is Amber the professional dancer or is she the celebrity who's been trained? Because that's how I read it. She's the celeb, but she's trained at dancing and she's on a dancing show. We should be competing against other people who are not good at dancing, not very coordinated, I believe last year, blind. So there's a chance, isn't there, that it might help you a bit. If dancing training's not helping, try the squats. Depends what you're trying to get improved, isn't it? What is the thing you're trying to work on? But yep, try the squats. Good advice. What have we got left? Let me do this one. Does that fit in there? No. Macron in troll trauma. Bridget's hell. Bridget Macron and physical and mental health was seriously damaged by online abuse. And so if what you're saying is that she has been going on about how bad she feels thanks to social media, yeah, seems like a woman. Checks out. Probably on Instagram all day feeling bad about what she sees. Yeah, no, checks out. I am still amazed by this because if someone said you are not the sex you are, as like some trolls, why don't you Lady Gaga it? Do you remember that interview with Lady Gaga when she was like, yeah, maybe. Anyway, crack on. And just carried on with her life. Even wore a meat dress afterwards. I'm not really sure if it was a meat and two veg dress, then that would have been like on point, but she forgot the two veg. But Bridget, instead of being like, whatevs, is now going to court to prove that she is a lady. France's first lady, there's a clue, was said by 7 alleged trolls to have been born a man. I don't really care much, so there you go. But I pay attention to the court case because I want to see what the evidence is. Apparently there will be evidence that proves she's a lady. I don't think the lawyers will be doing it in the Tom Jones style, but they should, shouldn't they? Whoa, whoa, whoa. If they don't add a bit of that in, they've wasted an opportunity. It's got to be a picture, isn't it? It's got to be I suppose you could do it with the blood test. Very much like the prostate test. You can do it with the blood test, but it's more fun if you get involved in your nethers. Is this what you came here for a live stream? I don't know. Martin says it didn't bother Roy Cropper. The Coronation Street reference, I just about understand that. I don't know enough to manage to word a Kama Cropper joke, but there is one in there somewhere. Proper Meme says photos of her making a sandwich for Emmanuel. Is that how it works? Back to the only gland, says Chris Hood. Indeed, indeed. Right, what's this one? Slim Pickens. Fat boy, ants and fish sperm diet. Fat boy Slim, here he is. Fat boy Slim has admitted to tucking into frog-spawn ants and fish sperm. Isn't it sad when someone's career is in such a state when they can't get on I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, but still try and do the stuff anyway? You know, oh no, I need to boost my career. How will I do that? Well, on that TV show, they have frog-spawn ants and fish sperm. I'll get some of that down me. Didn't work. The 62-year-old replied, ants, weirdest things ever eaten. Was in South America. I've had them in Mexico and Colombia. Oh. They were probably all eating ants, just accidentally. Most picnics, you probably had one. Get over yourself. I think we're done for the... there's this one. I don't want to take too long out of your day, but there's this one. Being dazzled by headlights in darker evenings is a worry for 4 out of 5 drivers. Yeah. I don't think it's just us getting older and, finding it difficult to drive at night. They are brighter, aren't they? These xenon bulbs and also the fact that people have cars that are higher up. They just get you right in them. Yeah. They're very bright. It's like being interrogated. I've been driving on country roads before where, there's no streetlights around, oncoming traffic, and there's bends as well. So you can't just close your eyes or anything. You've got to really pay attention. And the lights are so bright. I have confessed to crimes. Just oncoming traffic, glared. I did it. I'm just driving. There's no one in the car with me. It's weird, isn't it? A few more comments. Norman Cook's not a great chef. Irony, says Proper Memes. And Martin says, I'm not sure that's what ant powder is. Don't try it. You're right. I've never had to do responsible broadcasting on this YouTube channel, but do not try having ant powder in your sandwiches. Something that Deck stole, and Chris Hood has redacted a message. Was it offensive? You going on about Sadiq Khan again? Nuclear dogs off colour. Dogs in Chernobyl. Chernobyl. You pronounce it Chernobyl if you want to do the joke Chernobyl drop off, that one. But Chernobyl appear to have turned blue. Charity workers shot a video of the stray mutts near the site of the 1987 nuclear disaster in Ukraine. They've got enough going on over there, haven't they? But I think I know what it is. They don't know, by the way. If you read the rest of the story, they're trying to capture. They want to capture some of these. Why? They're radioactive stray animals. What an absolute worst of both worlds. But they want to try and capture them and see why they're going blue. I think I know what it is. It's the gene mutation, yeah? These stray animals didn't move out when there was the nuclear explosion. The neutron radiation knocks bits out of your DNA, and that's where you get these mutant genes. They are mutants like the X-Men. And what do we know about the X-Men? Some of them turn blue because of their mutation. Mystique, that beast one, the one who can jump about all over the place. Science. Some people will think that's actual science. Does that mean the dog's jokes are filthy? A bit of blue. Oh, 2 dogs walked into a bar. Plus the Egypts who insist on fog lights on all the time, says Chris. Oh, God. I think that story is the best example of how society is just crumbling. Everyone cares about themselves without regard for anyone else. It's the selfishness. Since the 80s, this has been slowly crumbling away, hasn't it? People will think, I'll put these lights on, it'll be easier for me to see. Other people will struggle. What do I care? And right there is why we deserve to die out. Dog's got blue jeans on, says Proper Memes. And a dogging story, says Chris Hood, which seems like I'm amazed we don't do more of those. Life on Mars would be horrible, according to Professor Brian Cox. All right. They've put him in front of that planet to make it look... It makes it look like he's a Mekon, doesn't it? But anyway, the physicist said humans could live on the red planet, but it would be a grim existence confined to a building. That's living in a city, isn't it? We already have that life now if you live in certain parts of big cities. Like, you confine to a building. On Mars, you go outside, there's no air. On Earth, you go outside, all the stabbings. So it's basically the same. Alien, said Marty. That's true. At some point, I will work out how to do more alien sketches on here. Listen, we're done. We are fully up to date with all of the stories. Wrong one. We've got all of your comments all sorted. Oh, Justin said, is the troll her husband? That explains why she keeps giving him the old whenever they're on a plane. Big hands, though. I'll give you that. So, we are up to date with all of the news that we could deliver in your general direction. There is one thing I could bring up. You know, earlier on, I did the story about the king being heckled. So I posted on social media that I was going to talk about this. And someone replied saying, this is the first time that the monarch and British head of state has officially met an LGBTQ plus organisation. And all you can report is that there was one heckler in the crowd. So much for news. Clown emoji. I'm not the news. I'm a comedian doing jokes that he's found inside a tabloid. The 3 tabloids today, if you want to actually start counting. But I'm not. You're thinking of the news. They're the ones who have like Ofcom reasons to do fairness, balance, coverage, all of these things. I tell jokes. I think I'll pick the jokes I do. Thank you very much. So, if you'd like to get in touch, you can. Justin says life on Mars would be horrible with all those immigrants from Earth. And there'd be no way to stop it because you cannot police those kind of borders. Because if you can't police big wet ones, you can't do it. Proper Meme says, what did Wade want? Gay jokes. Literally, yeah, the second follow-up tweet was like, why didn't you do a joke about him meeting proper queens? I'm like, that sits uncomfortably with me. And look at the jokes I've done. And that sits uncomfortably with me. Meanwhile, time to plug the other various things I've got going on, which includes this. Thank you to Proper Means for our music here, and look at how high-tech this is. Things to plug. This week I'll be doing stand-up comedy. Tonight in Bournemouth. I think it is a gig that's open to the public. It's a cancer charity gig about bottom stuff. Right up my street. I'll be having so much fun. Friday, I'm in London, normal gig, somewhere in Vauxhall, I think. Media appearances. A bit bright on the old piece of paper over here, isn't it? On Friday, I'll be on Talk TV's Plank of the Week. Who knows what I'll be talking about? Any of the stories from today could definitely do it. On Wednesday, because I got the days of the week wrong, I'll be on GB News' Late Edition, reviewing the newspapers. Also, you can follow me on Substack, at Mr. Stephen Allen. I've written up stuff about the woman which was originally sent to me by Proper Memes on social media. I finally got some time to write up the story of the woman who got fined 150 quid for pouring some coffee down a drain. We covered it a little bit on the podcast, but get stuck into that. You can subscribe. You do be a paid subscriber as well. Just saying. All Hit Radio, weekdays, 1 p.m. And thumb it and like it. It's my new catchphrase. I added the it afterwards. Thumb it, like it. Just working on catchphrases. Thumb it, like it. Whoosh. Proper Meme says, who's hosting Plank of the Week? I know during whatever's happening with that particular situation, Mike's on gardening leave. Don't look like he does a lot of gardening. Maybe he's going for the Tom and Barbara Good way of doing it. Margot. But it was Kev O'Sullivan last week, so it might be him again. You never know. And I'll be in there doing some jokes about some news stories or whatever. Rolling credits. Yeah, I got rolling credits going on. It's all fancy, isn't it? And cheers, Stephen. Well, I think we're almost done then, aren't we? Thank you for your comments. You've got all the details of where you can find me on everything else. We'll try and do one of these on Thursday. That's the one thing I was going to say. Why am I not doing a live stream on Friday this week? Well, sorry, but I'll be giving blood. So you could complain about the fact that I'm not live streaming. I guess I'm streaming in a different way, in a way that saves lives. Have you saved a life today? I've not done it today, but on Friday, I'll be saving lives. So maybe doing that. And when you're this close, I'm sure some of you give blood. I only do it just so I can look so pious. But one of the things that happens is when you get this close to your appointment, they send you a lot of communication, emails, you get phone calls, you get texts saying, oh, we really need blood. Make sure you don't cancel. If you can be available, please do. Reminder texts, reminder emails. But on the actual day when you turn up, they are like 1930s. There are your papers. You do not have your papers. We will be sending you home. Because they're Indian subcontinent. But I tried for German, but I swung and I missed. But there you go. So I'll be giving. You can't do both, says Martin. I could try and live stream while they're. No, I've got a slow heart rate, so I have to sit there pumping my wrist. You don't want to see that. Maybe some people do want to see that. And Justin says, I'm not allowed to give blood. There is a thing on the form. Maybe we'll talk about this on Thursday, because I love that when you fill in the form, there's a bit that says, have you recently been told you're not allowed to give blood? If you're sat in the blood donation centre and you're filling in that form, you should be, if you tick yes on that box, it should also mean we're allowed to just harvest you for organs, because they would be of better use in people who aren't dumb like that. Have you been told not to give blood? Oh, what am I like? Oh, I came here as well. Oh. And if you are trying to surreptitiously give blood, why would you be caught out by the question? Yep. Oh, you got me. You foxed me with your Poirot-style mind. Whereabouts in Wales were you? What? When I was giving blood. No, Martin, I will be going to Luton to give blood. Most times I go to Luton. Luton, I give blood. I lose blood. Same sort of thing. Got a customer in a sec. Please do the song title. Charlotte, yes. Right, we're out of here. Till next time, bye.